Hello everyone, my name's Bottletop Hornet and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft. I've got myself set up out here, ready to go with a few supplies because I want to build myself a automatic sugarcane farm and the building around it today. So I've set up the boundaries for which this entire building is going to take up. It looks quite large, but you'll understand once I start to build it. But I think the first thing that we're going to do is just jump straight into building the actual mechanical part, the farm part of this build, right in the center. And once I have that done, I have done a little bit of trialing in a creative world just to sort of get an idea of how I want to build this up. I don't really have a particular build style, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to make the buildings on the outside of this area look. It's easy enough when I'm sort of building inside, as far as, you know, a storage room and everything down there looks. But when I have to build outside here, I wanted to come up with a little bit of a build palette. I didn't want to try and wing it and then get through the process of building everything. So I gathered some materials. It doesn't look like much right now, but you'll understand once I build it up. The other thing that I can show you before we get started, wow, I don't know how I got that much air. But I added a second layer to my villager breeding area and started to fill in a couple of extra villagers until this up here actually broke. I don't know what's going on. I've reset the beds and hopefully the farming villagers in there are going to pop out some more babies soon. Come on. But until then, what I've got over here is enough for now. And one of the last things that I need to do before anything else is come over to these, what do you call them? Priests? Clerics. Because they can sell me this. So I'm going to grab a handful of glowstone and all this XP, which is so easy to get XP now. Because one of the things that I want to do is be able to light up the area and put some glowstone in this build to help the stuff grow. Yeah, I also grabbed a couple of these guys over here, these stonemasons, so that I can trade for the bricks to make a brick blocks, and also these blocks of quartz so that I don't have to use up quartz that I get out of the nether. I mean, it's so much more convenient to use that for redstone and all that jazz. So with those few bits of glowstone, not redstone, with those few bits of glowstone in our inventory, we'll just pop that in here. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to grab all of this stuff and we'll put together our little farm. So the first thing that I want to do is I've got enough space here. And if I think about it, is I want to build up a nice, probably going to have to dig into our landscaping a little bit, but we can fix all that up over time. We're going to have a decent hole in the ground for a second. But just build up this perimeter of the farm. Now I have practiced this and made sure that I had all the materials that I needed. So I'm just going to quickly fly through this. But if there is anyone who watches this and you want to know how I built this, I can explain it in the comments for you. Or if it's really too difficult, I could end up making actually a little tutorial. I'm not necessarily following anyone's design with this. It's fairly basic as far as automatic sugarcane farms go, but I'll do my best to make it obvious as I build this thing along. So the first thing that I want to do is lay out the area where I'm going to have my water streams and my grass blocks to actually have the sugarcane growing on them. So if I just count this up, I believe that's right. Yeah. So what I can do now is I actually want to make sure that I have clearly marked out the blocks that I'm going to have this water running on, because the last thing that I want to do is go to build stuff underneath this after I've put my water sources down and ruin all of my redstone. So quickly pop these in here like so. And that's the blocks that my water is going to travel across the top of. So now, with these ones here, we'll raise that up. Now, under these blocks, which are going to be grass, we want to have space that'll eventually have our hopper minecarts traveling along the rails. So we'll clear that block out there like that. And we'll pop in our grass. That way when I pop back in underneath of this and dig it out so that I can, you know, do my redstone and whatnot, I know exactly where the grass is. So we'll just dig this one out as well. And there we go. So that is our growing platforms. That's where we're going to put our sugarcane and have our hopper minecarts running underneath. Next thing I want to do is it doesn't have to be full water. It can be running water like this. That's enough to create what we need. I'm going to have to do a few trips down into the water here rather than, I don't really want to try and make an unlimited water supply because I'll probably end up just dropping it down into the underneath there. And yeah, actually I can do it like this. Last thing I want to do is get rid of all the torches that I've placed down underneath. And the last one, like so. Perfect. Water is running, which means... No, we'll plant that in a second. Okay, next step. Now that we've got these streams running, cover them up. We never want to see them again. As long as they're there and flowing, that's perfect. So I'll do this. And already I feel like I've grossly underestimated the amount of stone bricks that I'm going to use. But that's fine. We've got plenty of stuff in the storage down below. We're not building this too far away from base or anything. So it should keep running while we're out of the picture. I mean, you know, doing other things around the island. I seem to be dropping some frames, but we'll push through. Okay. Now it's time for the pistons. This one, super easy to do. You just place them all down facing into the center, like so. And this is what's going to pop our sugarcane off. And then what we want to do is grab our observers and we need to place them facing into where the sugarcane grows. So the third level of sugarcane. This would be a lot easier if I placed up some blocks. And I'll actually show off with this first one the idea behind it. So if we grab our redstone, place it on top of here. Anytime one of these observers gets updated, it's going to pulse some redstone through here and hit the entire line. And it's going to light up and power every single one of these blocks which is attached to our piston over here. So if I get some of this, the second that I do this, wow, that lagged. I don't know why. Let me try that again and see if it doesn't lag this time. There we go. So as you can see, that whole line pulses. So while this is growing, once one of them grows to the third height, that line is just going to pulse, knock them all down, and our minecart underneath is going to pick up all the pieces. So I can just go along and place my observers facing in on every single line. Follow that up with the blocks here. And there we go. Okay. And just like that, that is literally, except for the minecarts, that is the entire thing. Like, I forgot to pick that one up. That is everything made. Once I've planted these, every time they grow high enough to be to trigger one of these observers, we're going to drop sugarcane. And the carts that we put underneath, we're going to pick it all up, no worries, and we have ourselves an automatic sugarcane farm. So now, what I want to do is hide it, because if we pop into the air, that doesn't look very good. Obviously, I want to make a nice exterior to this. and hide it so that when we're flying around, it actually looks aesthetically pleasing. So I think what I'm going to do is pop into a fairly quick time lapse and do what I can to build up sort of a barn style build around it, I think. And I don't really know how else to explain it. And then once we come back from that time lapse, we can pop underneath and work on setting up our collection system and probably a tunnel like we did last episode to bring them over to a storage system, either our main storage system, which only has barrels, so it might be not large enough considering how much this will probably pump out over time, or down to our village breeder down below where we were going to set up our automatic stuff from our farms over there, the melon and pumpkin farm. So enjoy the time lapse. I'll see if I can get this thing built up, and then we'll pop back in once I'm finished and start working on more of the redstone stuff. See you in a minute. So what do you think? I'm sort of okay with it. It doesn't really stand out to me as one of my best builds, but as far as just functionally covering up all of this, it does work. Some of our sugarcane is definitely gathering in there, so it's obviously working, but I tried to add a bit of detail without going too crazy, make it look alright as we're flying in from a distance. Oh, I better be careful, I'm almost out of rockets. But there it is, sitting on our island. I'll probably do a little bit more detailing on the roof, and I'm definitely going to do a little bit more work to blend it into this landscape. I've sort of just cut it all out of the way. But for now, we can move on to the next stage, which under here I've cleared this out, ready to add my hopper minecarts onto this section here. So I just need to grab a trapdoor. Actually, I can clear out some of this out of my inventory because with the way that I've built this, I'm going to have to crawl to put down the rails, I'm pretty sure. So for starters, we'll add our layer that the minecarts are going to go on. Yeah, like that. So pop these in here. And then what I think I want to do is make 3 of these into that, and then with my leftover hoppers, we'll use a temporary block, and I'll create a line of hoppers down this way. So hopefully, if this all works out, how do I do this? I'm going to have to pop a hole into this, I think. Yeah. Alright, so let's chuck down some rails. We'll need some redstone blocks. And if I just pop it around like this, it should, with how often it'll go over those 2 hoppers, it should just keep depositing whatever it's got inside of its inside of its hopper minecart. So if I chuck this on here like this and send it off, we should be able to see it picking up a bunch of stuff. Yep. And that happens fast enough that, I mean, it should just continue. Let me check it as it comes past. Yeah. So with how often that's going to fire, it shouldn't ever need more time on top of the hoppers than that. And that means that this hopper line is going to feed whatever storage we have, or I can send it down in an item stream and send it back over to storage further in our base. So I'm just going to pop and do the same thing as this on those three, and then we'll see how much sugarcane starts pouring through. Okay, there we go. So I've got all three minecarts running now, and that means that from here on out, every piece that drops and gets taken down by this automatic system should start coming in. There we go. We should start seeing it pouring in through this hopper line. Now, this isn't going to be crazy fast, but it's always going to be running while we're at our base here on the island. So over time, I mean, it hopefully should keep up with our demand for rockets. It depends how much we start venturing out and if we do any builds sort of further out, but we should be able to, you know, get a decent supply. Nothing just yet, but next time we hear a one of the things trigger, one of the pistons, we should be able to jump back down and see what we find. So I'll just patch this up. And with that, I think it's pretty much done. I'm pretty happy with that. It's our first build sort of on the outside that isn't just walkways and whatnot. And with a bit of work, I should be able to integrate it into the landscape a little bit more so we don't have just these super flat areas here. I might add some barrels and whatnot and some lighting around it. But I think, yeah, that's not bad. Maybe towards the end of the episode, we'll do a quick time lapse, just another one, to do a bit of decorating around here. But for now, I think I'm going to leave that and work on getting this brought back over to our little villager storage area. Actually, on second thoughts, I was just thinking about how I eventually want to make, probably next episode, so not eventually, fairly soon I want to make a full-blown mob farm that I can get all sorts of gunpowder and bones for bone meal and making bone blocks for builds and such. And that's a lot of different items that are going to have to get sorted. And so I was just walking past this spot here and thinking about how this item stream that's coming along under here and then just straight across this direction, as well as just up the top there, I'm now going to have another drop and another item stream coming across. If I created yeah, I'm thinking out loud at the moment, but obviously I have this storage area here, and that's great for storing supplies and bits and pieces like all of these, and, you know, my blocks for all stone types and whatnot, and my wood types. But as far as things that are going to come in bulk from automatic farms, if I had an automatic storage system in this area here with an item stream running over the top that is basically expandable, so I can have chests blocked off that aren't being used, but over time, every time I add a new farm, that brings in a new type of item. So I have iron, but I'm going to get, you know, gunpowder, rotten flesh, bones, string, spider eyes, and all that. As those come in, I can add a new filter to my storage system and have a stack of chests, double chests, which is going to obviously, you know, hold a lot more than these barrels. And I think that's actually probably not a bad idea. It makes use of more of the space in here. I could clean up this ugly hallway a little bit as well and keep working on that prettifying of this base. And then with the melons and pumpkins, I'll run them over the top of this section as well. So everything runs through the one water stream and they can go past all the filters and they won't get sucked in. And then I'll just have those ones appearing at the very end there. So I could just bring that water stream back down, back across into where I already have what I have down here, and that'll just pop across and continue like normal. So I might dig that out Not necessarily build it this episode. I might next episode build this automatic storage system and build up our fully automatic mob farm. And then from there, we're really prepared to start crafting large supplies of rockets, and even I could go out and get a huge supply of sand and make TNT. It really starts to open up the possibilities and the ease of getting large quantities of different bits and pieces. So, yeah, do I have access? I might have to move the beacon because it's going to be a lot quicker to dig all this out. I mean, obviously this stuff is fine as it is, but I'll dig this area out. I might prepare myself a few items as like chests and whatnot to start setting that up. And then we'll finish the episode off doing a little bit of decorating up top. So give me a moment to gather some resources for this and for the decorating, and we'll get into that. So there's just a little placeholder. I've spaced it out so that I've got an idea of where I'm going to build it. I think we'll be able to go sort of like gunpowder, bones, rotten flesh, string, spider eyes. That's our main stuff from our mob farm that we'll build. I can do like 3 chests for iron and 2 for maybe the sugarcane up top. And then I still have room for other sorted items to come from other farms if I want to, say like bamboo or even like a, what's it called? Kelp farm. I think that's kelp. Yeah, kelp farm. So there's room for expansion in there. And if I do it like this, I can put an ice block behind a pillar that separates these modules, and all our items can flow across there, no worries. I've still got a little bit of room in that section there behind this cliff that I can bring stuff up, align the items on a chest somehow so that they go across the edge of my hoppers, and then, yeah, shoot them across. Nice and easy. So now that that's done, we'll pop up top and do a little bit of decorating. And the decorating that I plan on doing isn't necessarily like fully final. I think over time I'm probably going to add more and more custom trees and practice, making some unique looking stuff rather than just your default spruce trees. But there's I completely forgot to put the extra posts in there. So I just need to add little things like that and, yeah, align it with these bone blocks. I don't know whether I really showed this off, but I think I kind of like the way that these walls add a little bit of depth, and I really like bone blocks for like small detailed white, but I just love that edge, how it gets a little bit darker and it creates a little bit of texture without going overboard. It's one of my favorite blocks actually to build with. So I'm just going to pop these in here. Actually, it's not like that. It's like that. I almost broke it. That was close. And this one in here, which is a bit better. And just little things like adding these lamps on the outside and some fences. Super simple stuff, but it does create just a little bit more detail. I have some barrels here, which I can, build up the outside. Oh, that doesn't work. Like this. And like that. Yeah. Just little things to add on to the outside to make it come alive a little bit and not look so plain. I think eventually I'll add some little pathways up here, stuff like this. I don't want to. Oh no, there is blocks underneath it. I was worried that if I did put a path there, you'd be able to see into the mechanics underneath. But when it comes to situations like this, I can't help but fix it up like this. There we go. Has to look perfect for me. So just spam a few extra clicks through here like that. Yeah. Little things that I can come back and look at it every time I come back and see what looks like it needs to be done. Yeah, it's okay. It's not too bad. So I'll just pop these on this side as well for now. Don't like that. And I'm just wondering whether or not to remove that section. Let's pop it out and see what it looks like. Actually, I have an idea. There we go. I think that's slightly better. if you see this and you've got a better idea in the comments, I'm open ears because, like I was saying earlier, this is sort of, I did practice a little bit, but it's mostly thrown together. I'm not exactly sure on whether I'm happy with the build style, but, you know, there's always room for improvement, and it's not too bad for now, just to cover up a basic farm to get us started. And the beauty of Minecraft is I can always come back at a later date and add something more. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. I'll do the same on the other side. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Let's pop into the sky and see what it looks like. Yeah, it looked a little bit weird having that sort of just line continue along the edge. That actually breaks it up a lot more than it was before, so much better. And let's just pop down while we've been walking around and see. Yeah, okay. We have stuff flowing through. That's great. So every time I'm down here on the island, moving around, that should be running, should be loaded in the chunks because I don't really ever go far enough away that something's unloaded, unless I'm traveling away from the island, of course. So yeah, nice little farm, little automatic farm setup. And we can build lots more soon. So I think that's about it for this episode. See, that's the problem. That's what I was worried about before. Let's change that back. How do I do this? Anyway, I'll fix that in a second. But like I was saying, I think that's about it for this episode. We got a decent little bit done. Definitely built up a nice little farm here that should continue to run for the rest of the series. And definitely next episode, I've put it off long enough. I'm going to come over into this area here and I'm going to empty out. I think I'm going to do a big dig, a big hole in the ground here. I'm going to set up a large mob farm here to pour a heap of items into our storage system. So next episode, mob farm and automatic storage system are a go. And we can finally make use of some of this extra boring area that I haven't touched as far as detailing. So we'll pop in, build up ourselves this automatic storage system to start off our next episode. And then I'm going to have a crack, since I haven't really done it that often in other playthroughs, I'm going to have a crack at building a really good, efficient mob farm, because I've done so much work off camera, lighting up every single cave I could get access to in a huge radius around this island. So the rates here should be insane. And with how often I sleep through the night, most of the time it's daytime on these islands. And so the only spawnable space should be my mob farm. So yeah, we really should get a huge supply of items coming through. Haven't shown this off, but this is my melon and pumpkin farm. It's probably not the most efficient way to do it because I don't really know redstone. But every time one of these fires and that picks it up, it'll drop something off in here. The comparator reads that something's in the dropper, comes around, puts these two, what do you call them, observers together, and it'll just fire that for a short delay. And yeah, we'll watch items go flying down here. Let's see if we can see it happen. Wait for it. Wait for it. We got one pumpkin, 2 pumpkins. Not too bad. Anyway, folks, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making this. And yeah, like and comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be back soon with another episode. We'll work on our mob farm and continue to grow this world and really improve our quality of life stuff so that it's a lot easier for us to do the big builds and projects that I really want to do. So thank you again for watching. I hope you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.